Alright guys, welcome back to Top Garage. Well, you're gonna love this one. I'm not gonna film some of it because you guys have already watched me do this a couple times, but we gotta pull the motor and trans back out on the f100. So I went to put the fuel pump in yesterday or the day before, I forget, and I wanted to turn the motor over to get that eccentric round piece that drives it up out of the way so I can get to it better to get the bolts in. And I put the breaker bar on there. I was going to turn it over because I turned it over before we even bolted the trans to it. It turned over great. I go to turn it over to do the fuel pump deal, and it wouldn't turn at all. No matter how much I had an extra bar on there, no matter how much I put on there, it would not move. So there's something going on in the back, I think, because it turned over fine before I put the trans on and the flex plate on. So the easiest way to do any of this right now, because we don't have a transmission cross member yet, it's just sitting in there with the two front motor mount bolts. It's easiest just to pull the whole thing out and mess with it and put it back in at this point. So that's going to be today's video. I'm probably not going to film the whole pulling it out and everything else, but because we've already seen that, what, two times now I think we did it. So I'm going to do that off camera. We'll see how much I think my phone might be getting low on battery actually. So I'm going to try to film what I can. Hopefully this isn't it shouldn't be a real long video at all. But yeah, we're going to get to work pulling this out. And I got some new stuff for this thing I'm going to show you a little later in the video. And we'll be back. So hold on guys, we'll be right back. Well guys, you might not believe this, but we just had to pull this motor back out. So yesterday, I was trying to put on the fuel pump, and I couldn't get the bolts to go in because the way the arm is on the way these work with that big circle. I don't even know what they call that thing. It drives the fuel pump on the cam gear. Huh?
It's essentially a cam loop.
It's not a cam loop. It's a big round thing. Anyway, so I went to move the motor to turn it over to move that thing up out of the way a little bit more so I can get the fuel pump on, and that motor would not turn for nothing. So I knew the motor turned before we had the transmission and all that on because I had to put that balancer on. I had to turn a little bit to get to the keyway. So I'm like, well, the only thing I've done to this thing since I had it turning freely last time was put the transmission on there. So I thought, well, it's got to be either the flex plate bolts are hitting something, maybe they're a little bit too long because they didn't have the little star washers, and I figured, well, okay, well, we just won't use them. Or my son, and I thought of this too, maybe the torque converter was jammed up against the flywheel. Now, we just pulled it back out, we pulled the transmission off, and here the flywheel had dents in it from the studs on the torque converter. So we got it all lined up, and I do remember changing these back in the day. I do remember you had to mess around and get those lined up. For whatever reason, they don't fit real good unless you get the holes lined up with the studs on the torque converter. So we disconnected the transmission, turned it over by hand. It turns pretty freely. Got it all lined up, torque converter back onto the, the torque converter back into the holes on the flex plate, and now it turns over freely by hand with everything together. So just a quick little update of what's going on. We messed around with my daily out here and we just started on this, so we're gonna drop this back in. I'm not gonna video it because you guys have already seen me do it twice now. So we'll come back when it's back on, and we got some other parts. So hold on guys. All right guys, motor's back in. What a pain. I think it fought us harder this time than it did last two times. So we got her back in there though. We also got a set of headers. Why don't you show the other one there? These are actually these engine mounts. That one's real short. These are a little short. These are the other ones that you really get to fit because of those trans engine mounts. So these are recommended for this frame and for this motor. So they're going to work okay. I already kind of set them in there just to see. Even the steering box isn't in the way or nothing. So they came with the bolts, the collectors. Actually, the collectors actually have a thing on them too. So when you put them in, you can direct it to the back however you want. So that's good. Then we're going to put these in next. And also I got a distributor I want to put in. I'll do that after. Fuel pumps in finally. I didn't get that on camera. I probably should have, but we kind of fought with that too. So. So yeah, we're gonna slap these headers in hopefully real quickly, and maybe we can get the distributor in. We got the #1 top dead center right now, so that should be good. Got new spark plugs we got to put in, and also I got a set of spark plug wires on the way. I ordered a carburetor rebuild kit. It still hasn't came yet, and I have brake-in oil on the way and the brake-in oil additive on the way. That's going to be here I think tomorrow. So yeah, starter's in there already. We put that in when we put the trans back on. That was already in there before. We just had to take it off and then put it back on. So yeah, so I don't know how much power I have on my phone here, but we'll see how much power I got, and then because I don't want to run out of battery before this video is done. So I'm going to pause you, and we're going to see what we got. I might actually put my phone on the charger for a little bit. All right, guys, hold on one sec. Alright guys, I was charging my phone, so I wasn't able to get some of the stuff on video, any of it really. But we got the distributor in. This is just a cheaper HEI style big block Ford distributor off of eBay. Had really good reviews, so hopefully this is a good one. I know the Studebaker one, if you guys remember back in the day, that one I had a couple of coils burn up, and I ended up just putting the other one back in the original one with a points eliminator kit. But this one I'm hoping is going to work out okay. We'll see. So we did that. We got the headers in on both sides. This side wasn't too bad. My son actually had it. He did that side. I did this other side. Now this side, as you can see, let me see if I can get a better view for you guys here. You can see the steering box area. Hold on. The header is pretty close. It's got probably about maybe a ½ inch of clearance there. And that hose is kind of blocking the way anyway, but I'm just going to tell you, it's probably 3/8 of an inch away from the steering box. And that steering box, we moved it back over, so it's pretty much where it's going to be. That header came out. That's the side I did. It was kind of a pain to get some of them bolts in there. Actually, one of the bolts I had to cut down to make it go in. One of the first ports right here. So I did also pick up a steering knuckle. It's like a U-joint, and it fit the splines on the box perfect, and it's got a double D style on the other side. So I'm gonna get a different column for this thing at some point soon, and we'll be just running a newer column that has probably one that has more of the GM style wiring for the turn signals and everything. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, we got we did run the valves while we had the valve covers off, and after we put the motor in, after that. And we got all the valves pretty good on all the rocker arms, I should say, because a few of them were kind of loose. So, and then we got it back up to where #1 was at top dead center, and we put the distributor in. So #1 is basically right here facing #1. So when I get the wires, I should be able to just wire it up. The spark plugs I had that came with this thing ended up being the wrong ones. They're actually for a small block Chevy. There's a smaller plug. So I gotta get a set of spark plugs. I'm waiting on wires. I'm waiting on what else? Brake-in oil and the oil additive. I'm waiting on that. I got to get some more bolts for the intake because I don't have all the bolts in it. I didn't have enough to do that, so I got to wait for that. Actually, I got to get an oil pressure gauge to put in there too. And then hopefully, I'm thinking maybe this next weekend we can do a start and just start and let it run for a second. I'm gonna have to break in the cam, so I don't want to let it run for real long. I just want to kind of start it, hear it run for a minute. I think it'll kind of get me motivated to get it, a little more done. And then, yeah, so then we'll get a radiator and do some stuff so we can actually break in the cam. I do have to build a transmission cross member as well, so I'll be doing that soon. And then there's some other couple things like the brake booster. As you guys can see, it's kind of off kilter right now because of that valve cover so high, but I did find a smaller diameter brake booster and with a new master cylinder, which I'll probably get that That way I can still run my valve covers that are on it now. And I gotta wait. Actually, I'm waiting for a carburetor rebuild kit too, so that should be here. I'm hoping to be here tomorrow, Monday tomorrow. So, anyways, we got a lot done today. It kind of sucks I didn't get a chance to film a lot of it because my phone was almost dead, but I figured I'd go over with you guys, show you what we did, and there's going to be a lot more coming. So, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So, yeah, we got the motor out. Actually, it's pretty quick. Getting it out was easy. Doing the transmission thing, I thought maybe it was the torque converter, or not torque converter, the flex plate bolts maybe have been an issue, but it ended up being the torque converter, and the flex plate was just kind of jammed together. So we were able to kind of line that back up once we got the transmission off. And like I said earlier in the video, you can see a couple of impressions where the studs on the torque converter actually kind of made a little impression on the flex plate. So when we put the transmission back on, and we tried to turn it, once it was unbolted, and it turned fine. So it wasn't the, we actually made a full rotation, I believe. It wasn't the flex plate bolts like I thought it was. It ended up being the torque converter, and the flex plate was just kind of binding together. So when we put it back on, we got the holes lined up for the flex plate and the torque converter for the studs, and it went right together perfectly. I found 3 out of the 4 of the bolts that I needed to actually put the nuts on that thing, so I might have to get one more. I might just have to buy a whole set of them, I don't know. So that's back in now. We did put the headers on it. We got the distributor in, and like I said, I had plugs I thought were going to work, and they're not the right ones. I got to go buy some. And I'm waiting on, like I said, spark plug wires. I'm waiting on the braking oil. I'm waiting on some other stuff. I want to get this thing kind of started and get it running here in the next week or maybe 2 weeks. I'm hoping maybe this next weekend we can at least start it up and let it run for a minute. I want to kind of hear what it's going to sound like so I can get motivated more. And of course I do have to break it in, which is going to require a radiator and hoses and all that stuff, pulleys, and we'll do that in a future video, of course, coming up. But I do want to kind of hear it start up and kind of run. I just found last night I have an extra starter solenoid, because this one has an external solenoid on the starter. I do actually have a brand new one over there on the shelf, so we're going to mount that. Probably got to make a few cables. I got a battery you could use. The carburetor kit should be here, I'm thinking probably tomorrow. We'll be doing that here in another video, maybe. And then, yeah, waiting on spark plug wires and some other stuff, and we should be pretty much ready to go, I'm thinking. It's not far off. Transmission mount's another main one. I got to get to that. So that's going to have to be somewhat bolted down before we even try to start this thing. Right now the jack's just kind of holding it up. So I have a drive shaft. I'm not sure if it's going to work. It came with the truck. I'm hoping that maybe I could just get away with changing the yoke and a couple of U-joints, and we should be maybe good. I don't know. So, but if I can get this thing at least maybe just hear it run for a minute, shut it off, and just that'll give me the motivation I think I need to do some more stuff during the week. It's been kind of lazy here. I've been doing small stuff, but it's been so cold out here lately. I just haven't, I haven't had motivation. So, anyways, guys, if you have not subscribed yet, do that. Give me a thumbs up for sure. And we'll see you on the next video, guys. I appreciate everybody watching. I also answer all the comments. If you guys want to leave a comment, definitely subscribe. Definitely give me a thumbs up. And hopefully he's got some cool parts coming for his car, his 50 Pontiac. Hopefully maybe this week. Who knows? We may be able to get that old straight 8 out of there and get this 350 put in there pretty soon. We'll see what happens. But yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Have a good one.